Hello, this is kind of a different setup for me. I usually don't have this sort of video going up on my channel, but I have been obsessed with creating my reading journal. I have been obsessed with watching a creator here on YouTube that I found literally the past month, and her name is Michaela. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. And she creates gorgeous reading journal spreads. She has made me feel so inspired. So I thought, what if I also make a video about my reading journal? Usually the things that I do on my reading journal or for my reading journal, I just add them on my doing book stuff videos, but I thought that it would be fun to kind of change it up a bit and do something different. So this is my reading journal. I'm not 100% obsessed with it, I will be honest. I got it off of Amazon. I like the texture of it and that's why I chose it. I don't love the color. I think that it comes off a tiny bit darker on the camera, but even in real life it is very dark. I kind of was hoping that it would be more so like my hoodie, but it's much darker, as you can see. This is my second year doing a reading journal. I did one last year and I really loved the whole aspect of it and the whole process of even creating it and then doing the spreads, completing different challenges and stuff. So I'm really excited to do it one more year. I have already done some spreads, so I'm not starting off of zero. I'm going to show you what I have done so far. We have my intro page, which I haven't even touched it. I want to low-key finish the whole reading journal, and this is going to be basically the last thing that I'm going to do because I kind of want to get any scraps that I have from the rest of the journal and use them in this intro page. Then we have my library page. I did this in my last journal. I love having a page like this and just filling it up and seeing all of the books. You will see that even though it is March, and I'm hoping that it is March when I'm posting this video, I haven't filled any spreads yet. So for example, even in this spread, even though I have read 13 books this year, I haven't filled it out because I kind of want to finish the whole journal and then go back and fill everything in. So this is my library spread. I still need to color it in, and also I want to create some small designs at the top, kind of like vines. Moving on, we have my book tracker spread. This is going to be my book tracker and my reading goals. So basically I'm gonna have little squares that I'm gonna fill with color once I read a book, and then I also want to do my reading goals down here, but I ended up printing this a tiny bit small. I would have liked it to be a bit bigger, so I'm gonna reprint this, and that's why this spread is not done, because the letters, as you can see, are done. I just want to basically reprint this a bit bigger, stick it down, and then work around it to fill the whole page. This page is going to be my monthly tracker. I obviously have not finished it. I'm not gonna finish it today because I need to figure out what kind of letters I want to use as the heading. We have my yearly statistics. I need to also figure out the title of this, like how I'm gonna do it. You will see throughout the whole reading journal that I have pretty much completed a lot of spreads. Well, a good amount of spreads, but a lot of them just don't have a title. I need to figure that one out. So in this spread, I obviously have all of the months, and I'm gonna be tracking some things, and I think that it will be nice to see them for every single month. Then a spread that I'm really happy with how it turned out is my books read per month. I'm missing an S. I am aware. I didn't realize it when I was putting everything on Canva in order to print them. So I need to print that. And I also need to figure out what I'm going to do with the months. I want to write the month. But I was also thinking about maybe printing some sort of sticker with a month. I'm not 100% sure. So that's why I left it empty. And I need to also do the S because it's books read per month and not book read per month. And then the next page is my 2026 rereads. Last year I did a whole double spread about it, and I think in total I did 4 rereads, maybe 5, but even that's just pushing it. So for that reason I didn't want to do a double spread about them because I'm not a huge rereader. I don't know, I just get anxious about rereading books when there's so many books out there that I haven't read yet. But I saw Michaela do it this way, and I thought that it would be a much better way to have a space to put a lot of books, but then at the same time not taking that much space in my reading journal. And I really love how this spread turned out, even though it doesn't have any color. And then I have this spread, which was a bit of a spur of the moment thing. I wasn't planning on doing it, but then I reached this point and I was like, wait, do I actually want to do it? This is another spread that I saw from Michaela. I have never seen it before, and I really was interested about it, but at the same time I was like, I read pretty much the same amount of books, the same amount of pages each month. So does it even make sense? Is it going to be pretty much like a straight line? If you don't understand what this spread is, basically, let's say in February I think I read 8 books, so I'm gonna do a little star here, and then let's say that I read 6,000 pages, so I'm gonna do a little star over here, and then each month I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna just connect everything. I feel like it doesn't make that much sense when I'm trying to explain it, but if you go and watch her video, it does make sense, and I'm excited about it. It is, again, very scrapbooky. I just used a bunch of different purple designs that I found on Pinterest. Every single print, every single sticker that you're gonna see here, it's pretty much Pinterest. But yeah, I liked how it turned out. I decided to do it purple because I, for some reason, didn't really use that much purple on my reading journal. I used a lot of blues, greens, pinks, reds, but I didn't really use purples. Then we have my books read per year. I haven't completed this one either. I need to just go in and see how many books I actually read. And actually, I also need to write the numbers over here because I forgot about it. So obviously, this one needs to have also the numbers. So I need to also do this. And it's kind of like a tracker to see how many books I read each month compared to other years. I did all the way from 2022 because that's where I read the most books. In 2021, I think I read just in December. So I felt like it didn't make sense because I would have books only in December and the other ones would be empty. So I decided to do 2022 until 2026, obviously. I'm really happy with how this turned out, but I have learned something since designing all of these spreads, and that is that I prefer to have multiple colors. And what I mean by that is, as you can see, this spread is mostly green. It's the same shades of green, even though this pattern from this pattern, they are different. They are very similar and they're similar shades. I have realized that I prefer when the spread has two main colors. For example, here we have this dark blue and this gold burnt orange sort of shade. And I do like this better. Another thing that you will see about this spread is it's missing both of the titles. This is my format page, so if you open it up, I'm really proud of this. I decided to do this, and it's kind of like a folder. So you have my physical books, how many physical books I read, and then we have my ebooks and my audiobooks. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I'm really proud of myself that I didn't see someone do this. I just thought about it myself. This spread is inspired by Michaela again. I'm not gonna say it about every single spread. If you have watched her videos and you see me having a very similar spread to hers and kind of like a spread that not everyone does, obviously I got the idea from her and I really love how it turned out. And over here I'm gonna have my publication year. So if I read, let's say, 5 books that were released in 2026, I'm gonna color in 5 different rectangles over here. I'm hoping that I'm not gonna run out. I don't know. I'm scared about 2025 because I have already read 8 books that were released in 2025, so I'm kind of scared that I'm gonna run out of space. The next page is my physical TBR. You will see I have the sticky notes just so I can remember what the spread is if I don't have a title, which is again what I'm missing for this spread. And I also need to write down every single book that I have on my physical TBR. And then something I'm really happy about is this one. I never thought about doing something like this, and I decided to kind of add it because it kind of gives you a better picture of when you're reading books, how fast you're reading the books that you own. So this is my TBR knockout. I have all of the months, and then I have my TBR, basically how many books I started the month with on my physical TBR, how many books I read, and how many books I bought. And that continues over to the next spread, which is the books that I bought. I really like how this spread turned out. At least in real life, they are a tiny bit more vibrant than the rest of the spread. And that is because I outsourced most of the materials. The only things that I printed at home are the letters and the receipts. And that is because my printer hates burgundy, maroon, warm brown sort of colors and very dark colors. It doesn't like them, so I had to outsource them. Obviously, I cannot outsource every single scrapbook paper that I have used because that's going to be really expensive. The receipts, I created them myself, which I'm really happy with how they turned out. I found the paper and the texture that it has, the shadows, and I added everything else, even the barcode. So I really like how this looks. And then we have my trope tracker. Again, I'm missing the title, and I also need to go in and actually write the tropes. I'm gonna do it basically exactly like Michaela did hers, but I want to print the title first. This is a spread that I'm really excited about, and it's where I went in books. I'm not gonna do it yet. I'm gonna do it another time, but basically I have this map that I love how it turned out, how it ended up looking, and I have all of these postcards that I'm going to basically stick, and I have one for each month, and I'm gonna fill this page up, and every single month I'm just gonna write all of the places that I went. Another spread that I saw from Michaela, you're going to get sick of me saying her name, but I'm obsessed with her. She's so creative, and I'm so happy that I found her channel. This is going to be my queer Dutch door double spread, so I have a bunch of different pages to fill with all of the queer books that I'm gonna be reading. Again, I'm missing that title, big shocker. This little whip over here is because I have the world's worst corner rounder, and it literally ripped the paper, so I'm thinking that I'm going to stick some sort of sticker over there, something to cover it up. But I'm really liking the rounded corners, and I think that's what I'm gonna do with the rest of the Dutch sketch store spreads. And then we're moving on to my DNF double spread. I am so excited about this. Originally, I was just planning on sticking kind of like a paper bag texture, brown paper bag texture scrapbook paper over here and call it a day, because I didn't really care about showcasing the books that I'm DNFing. But throughout doing every single spread, I was like, wait, this is so low effort, and I love that. And I loved it last year when I did something similar and it was very low effort. But this year I just have so many ideas and I just want to have it be so pretty. So my whole idea started with this. As you can see, this is basically a box, a cardboard box. I saw this and I was like, I need to incorporate this somewhere in my reading journal. I love the whole realistic things being into the reading journal. As you can see, even the little receipts that I have over here, the typewriter that I have here, I love things like that. So I was like, how can I incorporate this? And I found this print over here. First of all, I love the colors together. I think that this looks so good. And then it kind of reminded me of when you're DNFing books and you see just a box full of books that you're planning on donating. And I thought that everything looked really good together. So yeah, this is the plan. I'm gonna cut these two papers and have them be the background of the page. And I'm really excited because I love how this looks. This looks like tile. If you're wondering about how I glue things down, I always put a piece of paper on the back because I know that I can create a mess very easily. And then I just use a glue stick. I find that that's better for me. I need to use like a lot of glue. I always prefer using a lot of glue over not using enough. I know that a lot of people use those tapes that look like a character and they're sticky, but I just always get scared that the paper is gonna lift. This is what works best for me. Obviously, everyone is different. If you have a different method that works for you, that's totally fine. I try to take it as close to the middle of the journal as I can because obviously that's gonna create the most seamless look, especially if you want the background to be the same on both pages. And another thing is, now that I obviously did that, I'm gonna try and kind of like make them match. So I'm gonna put glue on the other page too. I use the most random things to separate the other pages. I just use paper scraps, to be honest. Maybe I printed something and it didn't print correctly. Why should I just waste the paper? And I just use it again and again. I wait for it, it dries, and then I just use it again. And I just have a couple of those papers that otherwise I would have just, I guess I would have recycled them, but that way they have a purpose again instead of me wasting even more paper. I'm also making sure to put really close to the middle because you don't want that part of the spread to just be lifting. And I just make sure that the whole page is full of glue. And if you're wondering, yes, I do go through glue really fast and very easily. I buy glue like it's nobody's business. So now I'm gonna try and kind of align them, but I'm not striving for perfection. There's going to be a small gap in the middle and it's fine. I'm totally fine with that. So we have the background done. For the lettering, I decided to use this. As you can see, it's nothing fancy. So it's like the brown paper bag that I was thinking, the texture that I was thinking of using. And I thought that I would just do the did not finish and kind of like cut them. I don't know how I'm gonna cut them actually. I was thinking round because we have a lot of squares going on. So obviously here we have a lot of squares, sharp lines, and then obviously this is also sharp lines and squares. So I was thinking to kind of switch things up a bit, kind of like this, and have did not finish. I feel like it looks fine. I wish that the paperback was a tiny bit darker so that it pops off a bit more from the page, but now it's too late. I'm not gonna go back and reprint them because again, this is brown paper, so my printer hates printing brown, maroon, and burgundy, so I would have to go and print it somewhere outside. I think I'm gonna glue the letters first and then I'm gonna glue this because I think I would prefer if the box went in front of the letters rather than the letters going in front of the box. I'm gonna try and put it as close to the top as I can. I feel like that's a good place for it, making sure that there is no glue coming out from the sides. And then we need to do the finish part. So this one I obviously wanted to be in the middle of this page. I'm always making sure that I actually glue them down very well. Now it's time to do the box. I'm obviously gonna cut it in the middle, but I need to figure out what the middle is. I am gonna measure it just to be sure. It doesn't need to be 100% exact, but I'm hoping that it can be, for the most part, exact. So we have 20 centimeters and then 22.5, so that's 11 1/4. Let me measure it a lot of times so I know that it's 100% correct. exact and the line is straight. It doesn't need to be 100% exact, but at least it's close enough. It kind of had like a border, like the tiles. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I'm basically gonna try and do it to be the same throughout every single corner, take up the same space basically. I actually ended up printing this one in a thicker paper, which I kind of regret. I wanted 120 GSM. That was my goal, just for it to be a tiny bit thicker, but they didn't have any, so they printed it I think in 200 GSM, which I don't know if you know how thick that is, but it's pretty thick. And usually with my reading journal, I try not to add really chunky things or print with a really thick paper, because obviously it's making the journal even chunkier, and I have enough spreads to do that. I don't need the thick paper to make it even worse. One thing about me, I am such a people pleaser, so once she did it, I was like, it's perfect, thank you. I think that's pretty much it. I got some glue on this side. The good thing with this paper is the fact that it's kind of glossy compared to the one that I use at home. So if I end up getting some glue on it, it really just rubs off really easily. Okay, so now the hard part is to kind of align them. I want them to be as close to each other as possible. And I also want to make it as not visible as I can, that it is actually just cut in half. And I think that we are done. This is the finished spread. I really like how it turned out. I love the colors. I love how this is a bit more toned down, and then we have the browns over here. I actually do really like the title. Yeah, I'm really happy with how this is looking. And I'm just gonna be sticking the book covers when I read one that I DNF'd. I'm just gonna be sticking it in here, and it's going to be kind of like a box full of books. So we did basically one spread, but I did show you the rest of my journal. It's not done by any means, but I'm really excited to finish it, and I'm hoping that I can do a lot more videos with it. I'm really happy with how it's turning out. I'm not even halfway done. I'm really excited to show you my process, to show you my progress, and also show you the finished result. But yeah, this is all that I had to say. This is all that I had to show you. I hope that you like this video, and I hope that I will see you in my next one.
You give me butterflies when you smile, and it feels so good.